Hello students, I am VNN Swarupini, lecturer in biochemistry from Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Sciences, which is affiliated to Adikavi Nannaya University, Rajahmundry. Now, I would like to discuss about second BSc 4th semester biochemistry paper, that is intermediary metabolism. And from this paper, we have already discussed Unit 1, Unit 2 and Unit 3. And now we'll see the topics from Unit 4, in which we'll discuss about metabolism of nucleic acids. Okay, metabolism of nucleic acids. Here we'll see about purines and pyrimidines, their biosynthesis pathways, and also their degradation and their salvage pathways and other topics related to this particular unit. So now let's start with the topic purine biosynthesis. Purine biosynthesis. And this purine biosynthesis, these are built upon a pre-existing ribose 5-phosphate. So this ribose 5-phosphate is a pentose sugar. We all know nucleotides, they contain a nitrogen base, a pentose sugar and a phosphate group. So here purine will be attached to this ribose 5-phosphate. Okay. Here if you see the location of this purine biosynthesis, liver is the major site for the purine nucleotide synthesis. Along with liver, erythrocytes, polymorphonuclear leukocytes and brain, these cannot produce purines. That means here liver is the major site. That means in liver most of the purines that are produced in our body are synthesized in liver. Whereas on the other side, erythrocytes, that means blood cells, and polymorphonuclear leukocytes and brain, these cannot produce purines. Okay. And here this ribose 5-phosphate is produced in the hexose monophosphate shunt, that means HMP shunt or PPP pathway, pentose phosphate pathway. Okay, so in this particular metabolic pathway, ribose 5-phosphate is produced, and this is under carbohydrate metabolism. And as said, this purine will bind to the pre-existing ribose 5-phosphate. So firstly, ribose 5-phosphate should be available for the purine synthesis. So for this what happens? Hexose monophosphate shunt will be carried in the carbohydrate metabolism for the production of ribose 5-phosphate, and it reacts with ATP to form phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate. Phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate. That means here the first product of this purine biosynthesis is D-ribose 5-phosphate, and it is converted into phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate, that is 5-phosphoribosyl alpha pyrophosphate will be produced, and here the enzyme is phosphoribosyl pyrophosphatase. Okay, phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate synthetase. Okay, so here we can simply call the enzyme as PRPP synthase, and it is a ATP dependent enzyme. That means ATP will donate the phosphate group for making this alpha D ribose 5-phosphate into 5-phosphoribosyl alpha pyrophosphate. That means during the reaction what happens is an additional phosphate group is added to the ribose 5-phosphate. Okay, and the enzyme is phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate synthetase, which is a ATP dependent reaction. Okay, so here glutamine. So glutamine is a amino acid. So here if you see amino acid metabolism also, we have discussed few amino acid metabolic reactions. In that also few amino acids are responsible for the production of nucleotides. In those amino acids, glutamine is one of the essential amino acid for the purine biosynthesis. So this glutamine, it will transfer an amide nitrogen to this phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate. Okay, and by donating this amide group to the PRPP, that is phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate, here what happens is this uh, phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate will be replaced with pyrophosphate group. Okay, that means pyrophosphate group, whatever the phosphate group is added in the second stage is removed, and in that place an amide group, that is NH2 group, will be replaced. Okay, so here the enzyme responsible for this reaction, that means conversion of phosphoribosyl alpha pyrophosphate to beta 5 phosphoribosyl amine. So this phosphoribosyl amine is formed by the enzyme PRPP, glutamyl amidotransferase. Glutamyl amidotransferase. This is the enzyme. This is the enzyme which is responsible for the production of this particular product, that is beta 5 phosphoribosyl amine. And this particular enzyme is also a important enzyme in the feedback inhibition of nucleotides. So feedback means whenever the concentration of this phosphoribosyl amine is high, it will stop converting phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate to phosphoribosyl amine. Okay, this is called as feedback inhibition, and the reaction is a committed step in purine nucleotide biosynthesis. Okay, so till now what we have, that is beta 5 phosphoribosyl amine is present. So this phosphoribosyl amine is converted into glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate. Okay, it is converted into glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate. We also discussed about glycine, that glycine is essential for the nucleotide biosynthesis. So this glycine is helpful in the purine biosynthesis. In this particular step, what happens is glycine will come and attach to this, will get attached to this phosphoribosyl amine. That means phosphoribosyl amine and glycine, they will react in the presence of ATP, and the enzyme synthetase will help the formation of glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate. Okay. So in the next step what happens is this glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate. Formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate. And here formyl tetrafolate is also useful, that is THF, tetrahydrofolate is useful, and the enzyme is formyl transferase. So here the enzyme responsible for this reaction is formyl transferase. So here this tetrahydrofolate, formyl tetrahydrofolate, will donate the formyl group to this glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate, and what happens? Glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate is converted into formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate. Okay, formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate is produced. Okay, so this is the important step. And next one is, from this formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5 phosphate, 5-amino imidazole ribosyl 5-phosphate will be produced. So here imidazole ring of purine is closed in an ATP dependent reaction to yield 5-amino imidazole ribosyl 5-phosphate. So here I'll show you the reactions, then you can get a better idea. So this is the first step, conversion of alpha D ribose 5-phosphate to 5-phosphoribosyl alpha pyrophosphate. So enzyme is PRPP synthase. Now glutamine, it will give the amide group to the 5-phosphoribosyl alpha pyrophosphate by the enzyme PRPP glutamyl amidotransferase. Now what end product will be formed? What intermediate will be formed? Beta 5-phosphoribosylamine will be formed. Now glycine will interact with this particular phosphoribosyl amine and glycinamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced and the enzyme is synthetase. Next, this glycinamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is converted into formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5-phosphate. Okay, so here formyl transferase is the enzyme. So formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is converted into, if you see the reaction, this is an open ring. So this is an open ring. This ring is not closed. Excuse me, this ring is not closed. So imidazole ring will be closed by the reaction. Here glutamine is again interacted, and what happens is the imidazole ring will be closed and by the closure of the imidazole ring, the intermediate formed is 5-amino imidazole ribosyl 5-phosphate. 5-amino imidazole ribosyl 5-phosphate. Okay. So this is how this particular intermediate is formed. And now what happens is this 5-amino imidazole ribosyl 5-phosphate is converted into 5-amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5-phosphate. What? 5-amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5-phosphate. Okay. Just wait. So here what happens? 5-amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced and the enzyme here is carboxylase. So carboxylase is the enzyme. This carboxylase, what it will do is one water molecule will be eliminated and by using CO2 it will form this 5-amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5-phosphate. Okay. So now what happened? 5-amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced. Now this product is again converted into 5-amino imidazole 4-succinyl carboxyamide ribosyl 5-phosphate. Okay, 5-amino imidazole 4-succinyl carboxyamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced, and during the reaction another amino acid, that is aspartate, will condense with this 5-amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5-phosphate. Okay, so by this condensation what intermediate is formed? 5-amino imidazole 4-succinyl carboxyamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced. Okay. In the next step, what happens is adenosuccinate lyase is the enzyme. It cleaves off fumarate and amino group of aspartate is retained to yield amino imidazole 4-carboxamide ribosyl 5-phosphate. So here removal of a fumarate, that means fumarate is separated and 5-amino imidazole 4-carboxamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced, and the enzyme is adenosine lyase. In the next step, again formal tetrahydrofolate will donate 1 carbon moiety. Excuse me. It will donate carbon moiety, and what happens is 5-form-amino imidazole 4-carboxyamide ribosyl 5-phosphate will be produced. Okay, and here the enzyme is formamide transferase. Okay, and in the final step what happens is inosine monophosphate will be produced by the action of the enzyme cyclohydrolase, Okay, so after formation of this imidazole inosine monophosphate, this inosine monophosphate will lead for the formation of these another purines. Okay, adenine, guanine and hypoxanthine will be produced. Okay, so once let's see this reaction. So these we have seen. So this glycinamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is converted into formyl glycinamide ribosyl 5-phosphate, and here the ring structure will be closed by the addition of 1 more glutamine, and the product is 5-amino imidazole ribosyl 5-phosphate, and here by the action of carboxylase 5-amino imidazole carboxylate ribosyl 5-phosphate is formed, and by condensation of this aspartate again 5-amino imidazole 4-succinyl carboxamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced by the action of synthetase. Next, by the action of adenosine lyase, this 5-amino imidazole 4-carboxamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced. Okay, from this we have 5-amino imidazole 4-carboxamide ribosyl 5-phosphate is produced by the action of formamide transferase. Okay, and next by the activity of cyclohydrolase inosine monophosphate will be produced, and from this inosine monophosphate remaining purines will be produced. Okay, so this is about the biosynthesis of purines. Now let's see about the salvage pathway of purines. Here salvage pathway means nothing but whatever the free purines that are present, adenine, guanine and hypoxanthine, these are formed in the normal turnover of nucleic acids and also obtained from the dietary source, and the purines can be directly converted into the corresponding nucleotides, and this process is known as salvage pathway. So whatever the purines that we take through our diet and which are present in our body, they again converted into nucleotides, purine nucleotides. So adenine is converted into adenosine monophosphate, guanine is converted into guanosine monophosphate, and hypoxanthine is converted into inosine monophosphate. So this process is called as salvage pathway. So here if you see the reactions, the first reaction is adenine is converted into adenine monophosphate by the enzyme adenine phosphoribosyl transferase, and the next reaction is formation of guanine monophosphate from guanine, and the enzyme is hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase. Okay, and the third reaction is formation of inosine monophosphate from hypoxanthine. Here the enzyme is hypoxanthine, guanine phosphoribosyl transferase. Okay, so these are the three purine nucleotides formed from the purines which are present in our body. Okay, so this salvage pathway is particularly important in certain tissues such as erythrocytes and brain. Why? Because erythrocytes and brains, they doesn't produce erythrocyte and cytes and brain, they doesn't produce any purines. Here in brain and erythrocytes, purines cannot be biosynthesized. So for that reason, these salvage pathways will be carried in erythrocytes and brain. Okay, so this is why, because there is no de novo synthesis of purine nucleotides is not present in erythrocytes and brain. Okay, so this is about the biosynthesis and salvage pathway of the purines. Okay, in the next class we will see about the pyrimidines, how pyrimidines are biosynthesized and what is the salvage pathway. Okay, thank you students.